Guys, Boring Engineer here, back with another lock picking video. Today I've got a familiar lock, the Loto 410, and a lot of kind of early beginning lock pickers start picking these as few locks in. They're maybe their first lock with security pins, second lock with security pins, and they finally get an open, and the core looks like this. They get all excited. They want to pick it again right away, and so they'll grab their tension tool, and they won't be thinking that they need to turn it back counterclockwise, and they'll keep going clockwise, and they'll end up like this, and then they'll hear inevitably that noise, and what that means is, I've just turned this into a baby rattle. So that's exactly what actually happened to this lock. The subreddit user EastBei, he sent this in. He had turned it into a baby rattle, and I said I'd be able to help him out, so I thought I'd show you guys how the whole process is done. In another video I kind of showed it, but thought I'd give a little more detail here. So let's grab another one. This is one of my Lotos that hasn't been cut open. You can still see it has a seam here though, and that's because this has been heat welded together. So that's what we need to get open. This is a heavily reinforced fiberglass reinforced plastic. So you're going to want to use a hacksaw and a vise. So what we want to do is, after calming down, don't touch this. Once you've gotten it to this point, don't touch it. Just stop, go pour yourself your favorite beverage, whatever you need to do, but calm down, but don't try and turn it back, whatever you do. So we're gonna shove it into a vise here, and find yourself a hacksaw. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your hacksaw and you're going to start, I like to start on one of these corners and just get it, start real slow and use kind of your finger as a guide, and that lip, and you're going to start cutting, and pretty soon you're going to cut nice and slow through on one side. And you can just keep checking until you can see the shackle shining through, and then you're going to cut the same thing. You're going to cut down until you can see the core, and you can see that you're all the way through the plastic there, and then the same thing on the other side. Once you've done that, you can take it out of your vise and take away the vise. And your lock should look like this. You'll notice that they're still welded up top, so we're gonna have to deal with that. And there's also some internal welds that we're gonna have to deal with. So you're gonna grab a screwdriver, or even two screwdrivers sometimes, whatever you can, to wedge in, and slowly you'll start hearing snaps and cracks as you crank this thing open. That's okay, that's normal. You just keep going until you hear a bunch of snaps. Work your tool down further and further. You'll hear snaps and bangs and pops, and eventually the lock will just kind of pop apart. And what you'll have at this point, and you don't have to worry too much, except for the fact that you have pins in here somewhere, but what you should have are two ball bearings, the actuator, your shackle, and the core. And by some miracle all my pins stayed in here, so we'll bang some of these out of here. Come on, get out of there, guys. Well, when in doubt, use the key, punch them out. Kind of lucky. Okay, so then you'd often have a bunch of key pins in your body or fell out somewhere, so now you've got key pins. Again, do not turn this core back. you've got it just how you want it now. What you want to do is try and organize those key pins. So I've got a pinning tray, but maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have very many tools yet, still learning. What you can use is a piece of cardboard, and you rip the, like, kind of rip it in half, and you'll see that the corrugations inside, you know, pizza box or something, works really good. The corrugations will kind of act as little ridges you can put the pins in. So here we've got our pins. So we'll kind of organize the ones that we lost. And now here's the tricky part. So we've got 2 left in here. Take our pick, press them down, and we'll introduce our key. And what you'll see about those 2 that they didn't move is it's either flush. Well, now we have to figure out where the rest of these pins go so that they'll be flush. So what you can do is look at your key and kind of start to guess. So we've got a little tiny short guy that definitely goes in chamber number 6. We know that. Come on, focus up. Focus. There you go. Chamber number 6. The rest of them I'm not sure about. I'm just going to kind of guess. We'll start with 6. We know he goes there. Pointy side down. And what are these other guys? Let's take a look here. So we've got one. So we got one shorter than the other, and the other 2 look almost identical. So let's say that short guy goes in 3 and the other 2 are the same. We'll keep our fingers crossed. So we got this little short guy here. And we'll plop him in there. And then we'll put one of each of these. I'm thinking they're at the same cut. Making sure pointy end goes down. Come here, you. Into chambers 1 and 2. Come on. Alright, and then grabbing our pick, press everything down, and you can see it's flush. If it wasn't, you pull your key out, and what you can see is when you pull that key out, see it lifts those pins up so you can get them out, or you can just, you know, flip it over and dump. But by pulling the key out, you might be able to grab just the pin you want out. So now we've got here, this is great. We have all of our key pins are in the right place, and we know that. So all we have to do is rotate forcefully. See, it took a little, it caught a little, but it eventually spins. And now it's, the core is back together again, and it should work. Great. So then that just leaves the body of the lock and how to get that back together. So let's look at that real quick. Alright, so we've got these 2 halves, and you'll notice that all that cracking sound and popping when you were opening this case up, there's these posts here. There's a hole for a post and a post there, and there's same thing on these corners. And there's also these kind of places right here where the 2 halves meet, as well as this up at the top. That's what we're going to glue back together. But let's first make sure we know what we're doing. So the actual lock goes into the body. The actuator goes in with this actuator halve meeting up against the the other half on the lock core, and then the ball bearing on either side. The shackle, long side, goes where the Bible is not. In it goes. And then with probably a little bit of a snap, which is great, the two halves go together. And then if you hold it, whoops, gotta hold a little harder than that, I guess. Oh yeah, there we go. It should, dude. Come on, you. Back together. Of course it's not behaving. Let's try that again. Alright. Back together. Turn. Lock works. Okay, great. So then to glue it back together, I'd suggest using cyanoacrylate glue, CA glue, or super glue as it's commonly called. And you just apply a few drops here, here, inside of there, and to this post here, and to this post here, finally to this right here and here. Once you've done that, you can simply mate the two shells together. And that's it. It will never be quite the same. You know, obviously with this kind of halves, the two halves being apart like that, it's not going to be quite right. So be pretty gentle with it. I've also seen people wrap these in tape before, packaging tape or something like that, to just give it a little bit of extra strength. Alright guys, I got this all glued back together again. One of the things I did forget to mention was while you're gluing it up, or immediately after you've got the glue on there, you want to put the key in and start actuating it and pull the shackle in and out a bunch, basically continuously moving everything, including pulling the key out and putting it back in, for, you know, a good minute or two, maybe more, as the glue is hardening up, so that you don't end up glued shut lock. And then I just, for, you know, at least 30 minutes after you've glued it up, you know, you want to continue to agitate it every few minutes. Just make sure it's all everything's moving freely, and then you want to lube the lock. I use PTFE lube, but other people use different stuff. I'll, you know, let people in the comments argue over that one. But so we got this back together again. Let's try and pig it here. So we want to go after the number 5, as he is always serrated in the Loto 410, and then we need to find the next binder, and we should drop into a false set then. Got number 5, but there we go. There's number 6. Looks like I was holding this up a little bit there. Alright, 4 seems good. 3, drop this into a deeper false set. No counter rotation yet though. 2, counter rotation back into our false set. And come on, 1. Okay, nothing on 1. 3, big counter rotation. Too big actually, I think. Let's try that again. Oh no, it's okay. But almost there. There we go. Alright, so yeah, Master 410, do not continue to turn this the rest of the way past 90 degrees, otherwise you'll end up chopping it open like this. I wanted to say thanks again to EastBei for letting me have this, or borrow this lock. I'm sending it back to you, and for letting me show everyone how these work, and how they can come apart, and how you can fix Looks a mistake that a lot of pickers make, you know, so don't continue to rotate clockwise. Always rotate back counterclockwise after picking. So, good lesson. Thanks, guys. Feel free to argue about what kind of lock loops to use in the comments.